the Car Guy channel. We got a fantastic show. We're covering the Mountain View a la carte and art show. We got cars from high ones, fast ones, slow ones, expensive ones. We got cool stuff all day long. And to see some of the cars we had kind of last year. Some of the people come and pick up, and we got some newbies coming to the show this year too. Got a lot of cool stuff to show you guys. So I want you to do two things. Don't touch that dial. Don't touch any of these cars. Check them out.
You don't know what I got.
I'm going to tell you guys, this is not Mom and Dad's old station wagon, is it?
Nope.
How you doing, Mike?
All right. Jeff Peterson.
Hey, Jeff.
Nice
Thanks for coming on the show. Nice to meet you. Hey, tell me a little bit about the 70 monster wagon you got.
Okay, I picked it up in 1999. It's a 16-year restoration. I went through the whole car, motor, tranny, rear end, paint, everything. Except the interior I left original because it was in pretty good shape. Right.
Wagons are good investments.
Yeah, yeah.
And you can buy them right?
Right. I only paid $900 for it back in 99.
Now, that's a hell of an investment, I'll tell you right now. That's pretty good stuff. So you can put the V8 in, and this thing sounded like a pretty nasty little motor.
Yeah. It's got gear drive, it's got a steel crank, it's got Vortec heads. 4-barrel. It's a driver.
One thing that I noticed, this car has black interior.
Yeah, that's pretty rare for a wagon to have black interior because most of the wagons, they had color matched, same color as the cars.
Now, on the, I'm not a wagon expert. I have a few in my collection, but this is a Greenbrier, correct?
Right. Yeah, there weren't too many Greenbriers out there because it was a stripped model. It didn't come with a roof rack, nothing. Just your base wagon.
That was Ward Cleaver on a cheap day. Went for the Greenbrier. I always pick a car at these events that happen to be one of my favorites, and it happens to be this Olds 442. How you doing there, bud?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Good to see you. Thank you for bringing this hearse car.
You're welcome.
Now, do you know what Olds 442 stands for?
4-barrel, 400, and dual exhaust.
Ah, you're good. You're good. How many were made?
624.
How many coupes?
222 with the sunroof. 110 were convertibles, and the balance were just the hard tops. I can't do the math fast enough. So.
That's pretty good. This is the Car Guy channel. Trust me. No one on the show really does a lot of hard math at all. And I noticed you have some parts in this car. You have a lot of the real deal stuff. I was mostly impressed really with the air cleaner.
Yes, it's the original flapper air cleaner that goes with the hood for the Ram Air.
Sure, exactly. Now, that's a huge deal. And you got the right hood pins. Now, was this car true and correct?
This car was absolutely true and correct. It was a one-owner car. The guy actually bought it from Marydale Oldsmobile right here in San Jose.
Now, how much of this car is really original and how much is restored?
This car is pretty much a survivor. It's everything you see in it is original. It's getting to the point now where I am going to have to start replacing some things.
Well, I have a statement. I say it on the show all the time. A car is only original once.
That's right.
And the longer you can keep this car here with the patina and the way this car is, I'm going to encourage you. And we'll get cards and letters. Guys, let them know. We kind of encourage you to go that avenue if you can. Keep it, because it looks like you keep the car garage capped, well taken care of and all that stuff.
Absolutely. Garaged, only driven to car shows.
Now, big question. How long have you had this car?
I've had this car for about a year and a half.
Now, a year and a half. You're a newbie.
Yes.
What drew you to the Olds hearse car? Was it, now you could have gotten Olds 442, you could have went to a different lead, you could have street rodded. What went for the hearse car? Is it the white and gold?
The white and gold and the rareness of the car, and you just don't see that many of them anymore.
Oh, they're difficult to restore because, again, how many people, when there's only 200-something of the breed built, especially in the sunroof, that's the part that attracted me on your car was the sunroof.
Oh, sunroof, yes.
Oh, I think it's cool. Hey, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
Olds 442 had a lot of interesting tidbits about them, but one thing I really liked, because a lot of neat little classy touches, and that's the detail. When you get detail to a car. People have done it to a lot of Pontiacs and other makes and models of cars, and you can go ahead and do this on your own street rod or whatnot to give it the 442 effect. But on the back of the bumpers, they actually cut the bumpers, kind of a little bit of a half moon, that the rear tail exhaust kind of comes up into the bottom of it. I think it's fantastic. It's kind of one of the rarest cars here today at the show, and I was pretty impressed with an Olds 442, especially a hearse model, being white with the gold stripes. You just don't see them every day, and you know how that is on the Car Guy channel. You get something rare, you don't see it every day, we got to show it to you.
Went to a dance, looking for romance, so I'm Barbara Ann, so I thought I'd take a chance. Barbara Ann, Barbara Ann, Barbara Ann.
There's another Oldsmobile deal that caught my eye. And hi, Mike Hennessy. How you doing?
Hi, I'm Victor.
Hey, Vic. How are you?
Good.
I got to tell you, this car here just seemed to pop, and I think it's because of what you have done to this car.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about some of the add-ons you did.
Well, it's a 64 F85. It's pretty much the original car, but I put some different wheels on it, different colors in the interior. Just pretty much, kind of modernize it a little bit. But
Modernize it, street rod it.
Kept it the same, shape and style.
I thought the car looked functional, drivable, and you can have fun going to these shows.
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
And I'm going to tell you, that's kind of why I picked your car as one of the cars to drive to one of these events. You got your family here today, and that's kind of pretty neat, Vic. I like that an awful lot.
I like it a lot.
Then you got the model under the hood. I mean, you're ready. You're dialed in.
Little surfer, little one, made my heart come all undone. Do you?
What's a car show without cars of the 20s? How you doing, Mike Hennessy?
Hey, Bill Bart, sir.
Hey, Bill, how you doing? Who's this gorgeous lady?
Diane.
Hi, Diane. How are you? You looked the part today.
Perfect.
You looked at the hat on. You got your tent set up. You're all dressed right. That's pretty cool.
Well, thank you.
Now, you get out and enjoy this car, don't you?
Absolutely, that's our pleasure.
Well, now, tell me a little bit about your car.
Well, it's a 24 Chrysler. It's the first year Chrysler made a car. It's number 8966 out of some 40,000 that they built. And it was the first year that they made a 6-cylinder. It's the first year that they had 4-wheel hydraulic brakes. And believe it or not, that was a luxury vehicle. It sold for $1,535.
Guys, that's $1,500. Not $15,000, but it's
This is one of 12 cars that made Chrysler famous. The first one was a 14 Dodge, but Chrysler and Dodge didn't merge until late into the 20s. And so the 24 Chrysler was the car that actually made Chrysler.
well, they juiced the brakes because they put a 6-cylinder and they boosted the horsepower. Now, what is the horsepower?
Well, it's 135.
135. Now, back then, that's a lot of horsepower for back then, isn't it?
Well, believe it or not, this is a model B70, and it's a B70 because he said it would go 70 miles an hour. If you can imagine that in 24.
70 miles an hour with wooden spoke wheels. Right. He hasn't done that, has he?
Not exactly. About 40 miles an hour on 280.
I would think so. Hey, well, thanks for having the car on the show. And thank you for coming and
My
enjoying this
pleasure.
today.
Thank you.
We got to go around this and check this out. I really like the vintage stuff. I have a few vintage cars in my collection, and I'm going to be moving and trading off some of my cars, get some different breeds and makes and models. But having cars in the